So, interesting story here, guys. F1 is back this weekend with the Belgian Grand Prix, and Ollie Bearman has come out backing Max Verstappen in this FIA clampdown row that is going on right now. What is this row regarding, and why is Bearman backing Verstappen, and is he right to do so? Let's have a look, guys. Full article, as always, here on the F1Chronicle.com. Oliver Bearman has sided with Max Verstappen in criticism of Formula One's increasingly strict and inconsistent crackdown on driver conduct, both on and off the track. The reigning world champion has recently slammed the FIA's growing list of behavioural and racing restrictions, arguing that they interfere with natural instinct. He said, and I quote, "In some battles you feel like you really can't go for it," Verstappen said earlier this month. "It almost feels unnatural. You're thinking, can I do this or will I get a penalty? That's not racing," end quote. Bearman echoed those remarks in comments published this week by Speedweek, pointing to Kevin Magnussen's 2024 race ban as a warning sign. "I share Max's opinion," said the Haas rookie. "A good example of this is Kevin Magnussen's race ban last year. His offences back then were relatively minor, but not in terms of the total number of penalty points." Are you sure, Bearman? I'm sorry, but some of the moves that my man K-Mag was putting in last year, particularly in the Miami sprint, I think he deserved his race ban. He was really pushing it for a long time. Let's just take that example and put it to one side for a bit. I thought it was pretty harsh for him. There were moments like an attack that didn't work and both drivers going straight on. That didn't hurt anyone. For an action like that, which was never dangerous, he received 2 penalty points. Not sure which one he's referring to there, but like I said, Magnussen definitely earned that race ban. I don't think it's too controversial to say that he had more than it had it coming, and it really should have come even earlier than what it did. There were a lot of moves that didn't go punished, you felt, because he would have got a race ban, but they eventually did it. The glass ceiling, the seal, as it were, has been broken in that regard. Someone has had a ban for penalty points, but will someone else follow him soon? We'll have to see. But it's interesting that Bearman's coming out now and defending Verstappen and also defending his former Haas colleague, for want of a better phrase, Kevin Magnussen, because Ollie Bearman himself is actually getting dangerously close to a race ban. He picked up 4 penalty points for that 10-place penalty he got for the British Grand Prix, basically just crashing into the pit lane. So he's probably looking out for himself a bit here as well, which, you know, any good athlete will probably want to do that at the end of the day. But I'm just giving you a bit more context behind what he's saying here. Bearman went on to say, "What you get for points now can add up quickly. We drivers want to fight wheel to wheel, and ultimately that's what the fans want to see. If a manoeuvre was unfair, then I'm also in favour of it being penalised, but we have to find an appropriate balance." Ollie, you went 150 miles an hour, probably over actually, into the pit lane and crashed during a red flag. You fully deserved your penalty. If anything, it could have been worse. Let's be real here. Imagine if someone else was near him and he took out another driver. That'd genuinely, he might have got like a 20-place penalty, just like, yeah, you're qualifying at the back, mate. Doesn't matter what you do. You can get pole, you're still starting last. Bearman also went on to agree with Verstappen that some of these sanctions are making drivers afraid to really race. He said, and I quote, "It can happen that you suddenly think of a point in the guidelines and therefore you let your opponent pass again. And that feels unnatural," he said. "In the heat of the moment, there's no time to recall the instructions. You make decisions in a split second. You're certainly not thinking about a 5-page FIA document. I understand the approach of the FIA, and we also want consistent assessments of duels, but that's simply difficult in certain situations." Well, I agree with him there. It is difficult. It's very hard. I mean, they've got the menu, have the FIA stewards, so you know they know what to punish these drivers with, and it is very hard to think of hard and fast black and white rules for situations in Formula One that are usually pretty grey. You know, it's difficult to do that, and I don't envy the stewards having to do that. I do think the stewards sometimes can do better. I don't think they're perfect. It's like any kind of officiating body. You look at referees in football for a much more blatant and obvious example. You know, the FIA stewards are no different. They will make mistakes. They will do things that people don't understand. It's simple as that. Do I think the punishments are too harsh? I mean, no. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some that are. You know, you're going to get some that you think aren't harsh. You know, if you're going to get some you think too harsh, but you know, the examples that we're thinking about here, because this is all about 2 examples, really. This is about Bearman in the pit lane at Silverstone, which was absolutely shocking driving in every sense of the word. If you do that at any point during a weekend, you will get the book, you will get the menu thrown at you for that. And you did it during a red flag as well. So for me, no problem with that penalty whatsoever. It could have potentially been worse. Verstappen with Russell, again, that seemed about right, to be honest. I mean, some people said it was too harsh. Some people said it was not harsh enough. I honestly don't have a big problem with it. I think it was probably about right, to be honest. So, yeah, I mean, have a go at the stewards all you want, but in general, I've not got a huge problem with what they've been doing this year. I feel like they've been better. And I feel like as well, with the menu being there as well, there's a lot more transparency there. So now, you might not necessarily agree with what the stewards are doing, but you can at least see where they're coming from, you know, what they're saying. And you've got the full reasons there and everything, so you can directly reference the reason in their documents to the menu, and you can say, well, all right, maybe it should have been a 20-second penalty, but they gave a 10 because of this, for example, you know. So, guys, get your thoughts in the comments below. Are the FIA stewards being too harsh on drivers? Are they being clamped down too much in terms of what they can do? Are they having to second guess things? I mean, Behrman, again, using the example of what he said, you know, you're not thinking about the FIA documents and the rules and stuff like that when you're passing the other cars, but your team is. Your team is. We regularly see race engineers get on the phone, get on the radio to their drivers and say, no, that was an illegal maneuver. You need to let him back pass or you're going to get a penalty. So the drivers aren't having to think about that. I mean, they can do if they want, but they don't have to. The team does that for them. But I do see where he's coming from with that. Anyway, like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more of this, guys. And have a great week wherever you are in the world today. And hopefully a fantastic Belgian Grand Prix this weekend too, guys. See you soon.